Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes as I answer more of your non-Walton related questions. Thank you so much for continuing to watch my channel while we navigate this actors and writers strike. I have a question here from No Name, No Face, who asked if there was some sort of an episode that I feel most captured my personality. Wow, because I was always a tomboy and into sports in real life, I think sometimes having an opportunity to do shows where I got to do stuff that was more physical, like playing softball or riding horses, things like that were very close to my own personality. When we did the homecoming, I probably was cast in that because it was a lot of who I was. I had a lot of attitude, not in a bad way, but you know, I just related to this sort of tomboy character. So a lot of the bickering and stuff like that was very easy for me to do. My sister at one point said that she would watch me during that period of time and think, well, I don't know what the big deal is. She's just playing her own bratty self. So I guess that goes to say that personality was how she saw me in real life, having to share a room with me growing up. So those ones in particular, I think, really were a lot like I was at that point. And then you also wanted to know if there were episodes that changed the way I looked at the world or enlightened me. And I think because so many world events were covered. And so I think I learned a lot more about history from the way that we reflected world events than just reading about facts in a history book. So when we touched on things like the abdication of Edward VIII or about what was going on in Germany, the book burning and the anti Jewish sentiment. I remember when I was in school, in junior high in particular, because I grew up in an area that was almost all my friends that I went to school with were Jewish. So I didn't think anything about it. I thought, well, most people are Jewish. And when I was in junior high school and I took a history class where we were studying World War II, and I started learning about the persecution of the Jews during the war, I was like stunned. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean they were persecuted? All my friends are Jewish. How could that be? How could that be? So it was just startling. So doing an episode about that again, highlighting those elements, and that was not too long after I had had that personal experience. So we are very much a product of how we grow up and the people we interact with and the neighborhoods and communities that we grow up in. And I think that through work that I did on our series and on other shows, you begin to experience a broader view of life. And actors are so very diverse in their backgrounds and where they came from, what they did, that I learned as much off camera as on camera in just having an opportunity to experience a lot of different people, and then doing different sorts of outside events and traveling places. It was a tremendous education and much more than I got sitting in a classroom. So, dealing with subjects like illiteracy, the way that our characters interacted with anybody who came into our small, secluded community, and the way that we embraced them and were open to trying to understand them and their life situation. So those types of things, I think, definitely set such a great example that I think it was easy to want to emulate that, because I could see through storylines just how significant that was. So I'm very grateful. And then, a traveling salesman and dealing with elements of the Depression that I just hadn't personally gone through. So to really see the hardships people had to go through because we were reenacting things as characters or seeing them reenacted was very enlightening. Robert Shaw asked, I was wondering about actors and their dialogue. How does one avoid starting their dialogue while someone else is still speaking without interrupting? Or is that never an issue? It's definitely an issue. We do try not to jump on each other's lines too much. When we're all on camera together, the sound is being picked up collectively in those sort of master shots. So there's less problem with us talking over each other. However, when we get to close-ups, if you have dialogue that is not on camera, so if it's my close-up and somebody else is delivering lines off camera, they have to wait. So if I say something that's supposed to be interrupted, then there will be a point where I will sort of pause and then they will say the line off camera, or I'll just finish my line and they will wait for me to finish and then they will say their line and we will trust the editors to sort out that sound, because as soon as they cut to a different shot, they can use whichever audio they want. So you'll often see overlapping things. You'll hear something that's different than what you're seeing on camera because somebody's speaking off camera, or they will, if they want to interrupt what I'm saying, they can cut to the other person starting to talk and they can bleed over some of my dialogue and put their new dialogue over top of it. So it becomes a sound editing thing. But we were always warned by the sound people to not overlap if you were off camera. So that's kind of how it is dealt with. And this question is from Devakak, who was asking about one of the actresses in an episode that had very red hair, and wondering, she was playing someone's girlfriend, and wondering if that was a sister of one of the cast, like Cammie or Eric or, even Mary. And no, she just also happened to have very gorgeous red hair. So no relation there. But then you said, on that note, I'd love to know more about the families, you and the other castmates, the siblings. Interesting that my brother Dave was an extra in some episodes. Cammie's brother Jeff appeared in a few episodes, and then Mary's brother appeared in an episode. So yes, a number of us, Cammie's brother appeared in episodes, sometimes with dialogue, sometimes just as basically an extra, someone in the schoolroom, someone in the church, things like that. Mary's, one of her brothers, I don't know if both of her brothers did, but her brother and her sister both did some, appeared on a couple of occasions. And then Eric's brother, Dana, appeared in a number of episodes as an extra. And that was kind of it, because John doesn't have any siblings, and David has a sister, but she was older and never appeared. And I don't know that any of the other adults, I don't think any of Michael's boys ever appeared, and I don't know that any of Ralph's children did. They were older, they were grown. Of course, Will Gear's daughter did a couple of episodes, and his son, I don't know if his son ever appeared in anything. I don't know that he did. Ellen didn't have children. So, and Richard, although Richard has a sister, his sister did act, and she was actually one of the dancers in the TV series Fame. She was a gorgeous, dancer. Because Richard's parents had a ballet company, they both grew up and his sister became one of the principal dancers in his parents' ballet company, and then she went on to, be a regular as part of the dance team there. So she would, I think, sometimes have dialogue as well. So that was kind of the appearance of the siblings and children. That's what I have for this behind the scenes. Thank you for sharing your questions. If you have a question, put them in the comments below. And particularly if you have questions that are not Walton related right now, that I can take up on other subjects or topics, or just about whether it's acting, writing, directing, life. Let's play with these various different subjects, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.